All right, within this last pillar here, pillar number 9, I'm going to go through the effectiveness of encompassing all other 8 pillars. This individual here would tie everything together and ultimately allow you to completely dominate the market, number 1, allow you to create that moat around the business to ensure if anyone of your competition tries to come near you, you're untouchable. Because again, if we speak about the original points that I brought up in the first video, it was number 1, being able to leverage a system that, within 18 to 24, even 36 months down the track, a lot of these businesses would be trying to do that. But if you're able to adopt these pillars now, if you're able to really implement a lot of the systems that we've focused on here today, or at least within all these videos, then that time, 18, 24, 36 months down the track, when these businesses realize we should bring this in-house, we're able to grab key employees from around the world who are not only cost effective in terms of the wages that you pay them, but also they're really passionate about what they do. And again, we're looking not necessarily at the location wise, but more about expanding our reach to experts all around the world. This really becomes super fruitful, where you step back, you allow the marketing team to work, you allow all these other little pillars or pistons within the engine, so to speak, to fire very nicely. You reap the benefits from it. So in this video here, I'm going to go through the strategic or the crucial role, of a head of sales. Now, in this instance, we're going to go through the examples of home improvement, but again, apply this to your own business as well. This individual here will go and oversee the entire team, from paid ad specialist to the appointment setter, to also the social media manager and every other crucial aspect in this here. Infrastructure injection, this individual ties it very nicely. So let's go through what are their responsibilities. Number 1, they need to oversee the marketing team. Now, one thing that we do very well here with RH Media is that we're able to identify the company culture. They understand that, hey, the business is going a specific way, so we need to ensure that we bring on someone who not only aligns with the values and the morals of that business, but also can add value based on their expertise. So this individual here would be ensuring that the marketing team is humming and they're doing exactly what they need to do, but they're also further adding value. They're further developing the people. And we say this all the time, the people is what make a business successful. Yes, you've got the automations. Yes, you've got all the AI out there these days, but it's the individuals, the people that are within the team that stand alongside you and work every single day on the common goal that you have. These are the guys that will help us scale the business. Now, if we're dealing with people in general, and again, this is a conversation that I've had with a number of our clients, is, when does AI take over this individual's role? When does this AI take over having humans to have to do most of the work? And if you're looking at sales and marketing or advertising it as an aspect of it, there still needs to be a human connection. There still needs to be that human touch. And you can't outsource an appointment setter's role, because I've spoken about the crucialness of them being part of this sales process. So as soon as the lead comes in, that appointment setter, if they haven't booked in that appointment online, that lead, within that 5 minutes, they jump into a call, say, hey, thanks for coming through. Really love to see how we can help out. And by being able to build that rapport and build that relationship, even from within the first 5 minutes of the inquiring, that there psychologically allows people to go, you know what, I'm actually dealing with humans. I'm dealing with people who actually give a shit about my business. So if we can do that, when I'm in business, home improvements, kitchen renovation, bathroom renovation, or it could even be, you could be a B2B business. But if you have someone on the phone, this has been for thousands of years, having that human connection and touch really amplifies the ability to go, you know what, between company A and company B, company A actually gave a shit. They spoke to me on the phone every single step of the way, not every, but most of the important steps of the way. Whereas this other individual had, a bot coming through. We could tell it's a bot. It's very dry. It's very generic. And the experience wasn't one that they would remember. But if you're able to build that rapport and, just have a general conversation, speak about the kids, speak about whatever's going on in their life, but also realizing, hey, we're here for one thing, and that's for us to help you out with whatever problem that you want us to solve. That there goes a hell of a long way. And I know that for a fact. It was brought up with my old man, really emphasizing and literally just, I remember times where I'd get in trouble because I didn't say my please or my thank yous or was respectful to the person in front of me. And I copped it. So I think if that translates into business, and this allows us to build these pillars out based on the learnings and the lessons that I've learned, and it seems to work with our existing clients, then I'm fairly certain it's going to work with you as well. All right, so I sort of digressed away from the marketing team. Yes, they need to perform. Yes, they need to hit the results. Yes, they need to hit the KPIs. But if you can have them buying into the culture and buying into the business and where you want to get to, life is so much easier. And it's also a lot more fulfilling as well, because you're seeing other people within your team succeeding in their lives. Secondly, they need that understanding of, and I think I actually just touched on that earlier, which was understanding the importance of customer relationship. Now, not only do we leverage the systems and technologies that are available to further improve the relationship management, but they need to understand that, hey, expectations need to be met, high standards need to be set, and making sure it's a completely I wouldn't say a well-oiled machine, because that's a cliche quote that's forever used, but it's aligning with the business, and it's aligning with how you want to be perceived online. So if you're being perceived online as someone who gives a shit, as I said, and cares about the individual, and then they're met with the salesperson or the managing director online, and again, it's the exact same thing. There is so much more ability to convert and close simply because they've really been able to set that expectation. So again, client relationship, client management, client success all comes down to the head of sales and how he looks after his entire team. Thirdly, we're looking at the managing on-site appointments. So not only do they oversee the schedule of yourself, but they ensure that the touch points before that schedule and the touch points after it is really, really, I guess, on point, but also more the customer-facing customer experience is something that they pride themselves on. And as an example, if they don't decide to move forwards with us, they are left with a phenomenal experience on the business. So this head of sales here may not necessarily be as technical, but they're very, very specific on how our brand is perceived online and how we interact with our leads. Also, the execution around strategy as well. They've obviously got the high level viewing of how things are portrayed, especially when it comes to lead generation, when it comes to sales. But again, it all comes down to, not only the clients and their experience, but if you look after the clients, the lifetime value of a client goes phenomenally high. And also, if you're able to build out a really good referral system as well, which is one of the pillars we spoke about, that then starts to, off the back of no ad spend, let's just say, for example, you spent $100 to acquire this sale, but because they've been able to be looked after, not only do you complete the sale of, let's just say, $1,000, but if they bring on other people, because of how we've executed effectively, that cost per lead, that cost per acquisition, that cost per sale, becomes very, very fruitful based on the lifetime value of that individual. And then last but not least, we're looking at the performance tracking. How are things going? So we might just dive into a little bit less of the human psychology and the human impact or customer service, and actually looking at the numbers. Okay, how are we performing? Are we hitting the metrics? Are we below metrics? And if we are, what are the changes that we need to make? What are the things that we're setting to ensure that we hold it or grow it? This here is also one of the responsibilities that need to be looked after. Now, if we go into the essential qualities, again, and I think I've spoken about this in the previous stories, strong leadership and team management, very, very important. They need to understand the market. So if you are in the home improvement space, they need to really, at least understand not only where the market is, but where the market is going. Thirdly, they need to be able to communicate well, to negotiate well. Also with regards to not only the team, the negotiations and the agreements that you hold, but also, the leads out there. There may be times where this individual needs to step in and negotiate. But again, what we're wanting to do is to have this individual really, really be the head of sales, obviously, but more importantly, I'd say even the head of sort of the brand, how that brand is portrayed online, and how are these touch points made effectively. And last but not least, we're looking at the analytics, the sales data, the marketing trends, where it's going, also the liaison with the business owner and the business goals, and then also adding value in terms of, okay, if that's the goal that you want to achieve, we're going to reverse engineer, we're going to achieve these daily, weekly, and monthly metrics, but we also need to keep abreast of maybe the competition. We need to identify some of the emerging technologies that we need to go, or at least look into to see, hey, could this add a lot more value to not only how we run our business, not only how we acquire our clients, but more importantly, how do we create an even better experience for our customers out there. This role here of the head of sales is sort of like the 2IC, I wouldn't say 2IC officially, but he'd be someone that you'd be he or she would be someone that you would be bouncing ideas off, questions on improving the growth of the business. Now let's have a look at the foundations of this particular role. Now, preparing your business, you need to ensure that you have a clear business strategy in front of them to ensure that they're able to put the building blocks towards whatever that goal is. So whatever that 12, 18, maybe 3-5 year goal that you have, that individual needs to have a clear idea of where you're going or where you want to go. There needs to also be a robust marketing and sales process. So again, I'm not expecting the business owner here to have a fully step-by-step process, but there should be at least frameworks in place already for this head of sales to come in and go, great, this is how it's working at the moment. These are the recommendations or suggestions to further amplify, whether it be further increasing customer touch points, further increasing customer experience, could even be reducing the humanistic or the manual operations in one area, and then adding that individual or putting a lot more emphasis in other areas that really move the needle forward in the sales process. And again, we speak about this all the time, and it's one thing that we pride ourselves on. The company culture is a big focal point. Now, we spoke when hiring, it's all good and well to get people who are very competent at what they do. However, if they don't match the company culture, and if they don't align or buy into the business ethos, then they could be the best in the world, but they'll do a lot more destructive things down the track. So identifying and focusing on the importance of team, that will ripple out to how they look after our customers. Recruitment strategy. Now, we identify the skills, as I said, and the experience that they have, but they also need to match. They need to buy into the company culture. Also, utilizing professional networks is a way that you can get in front of these individuals, people within your space, industry contacts, recruitment agencies, or if they're good enough and you're able to operate, or if you have an operation that is online primarily, then you can identify these individuals from other areas of the world. So personally, we have this individual in-house. However, we would definitely, when I mean in-house, I mean location-wise, based in Australia, simply because we focus primarily on the Australian market. But if you're able to leverage and utilize some of the awesome people around the world, you could definitely do so. But again, you need to understand your audience, you need to understand the market, and how this individual would operate within the business. And then last but not least, it's quite interesting because a company that I used to work for outside of marketing, it was an IT company, would always promote from within. Now, I think this is before any of those books were really pushing on it, but we saw companies out there, they were just looking externally for hires, whereas the best person to put into these positions were the ones who already work within the business and already buy into the culture. So if you're able to have someone who pioneers or really champions the business, you can always teach them and you can always upskill them into the other technical aspects of it. So don't disregard the internal team that you have already. They could be the right person just under your nose looking for that next step up. Now, how do we integrate these individuals into the business? Now, first things first, it always comes down to the onboarding and the training. Now, you may not have the right systems in place. You may not have the SOPs, the step-by-step processes for them, but this is where you need to look at developing these systems to then allow you to step back. Because if you're able to develop it and then put this individual in and allow them to either watch videos, either familiarize themselves by maybe going out on site with you if you are doing the sales, further experience when it comes to maybe watching some of the recordings that you have. So with us, we have a Zoom meeting with our leads, and our appointment setter and our head of sales watches these videos if they were new. They'll come through, they'll see how we do things, they see how I do things, and not only will they familiarize themselves with what works, but they'll also add value. They'll add their flavor and their spin into going, okay, Robin did it this way, however, I believe if we can do it. And again, adding value to it, not having a closed mindset. It's really putting them into a position where they can take accountability and responsibility by adding on top of what you've been able to build. There's always a lot more intellectually smarter people than myself, so I'd leverage on their or lean in on their skill sets. And then last but not least, continue training them, whether it be technologies that they need to look into, different platforms that they need to have a look at, or better yet, professional development, working on themselves as the individual. It's always important to continue the ongoing training for these people in your team. Setting goals and expectations. Now, again, we need to make sure that we set realistic but ambitious targets. So, you don't want to, if you're a $1 million business looking to go to that $1 billion target or KPI within 12 months, highly unrealistic. So you need to make sure that they are, again, achievable, but also push the boundaries as well. Make it ambitious for them to step into, make it a little bit uncomfortable, but allow them to step up and step into this role. Also, there needs to be clear expectations, not only internally within the team, but also for client relationships, for the client experience, and also having a client success individual that can continuously speak the praises of the business, but also, say for example, if there's an issue that requires either dealing or there's constructive criticism coming back from our clients, they need to understand that it's not a personal attack, but it's in a way that we can not only learn, but become better. So they need to understand that. Now, how do we measure the success and impact of this individual? Now, again, it comes down to the numbers. Let's have a look at the sales metrics, and let's have a look at the feedback from the clients and how we're going. Again, there are so many variables that come into play here, but ultimately, if you're able to look at the numbers, but then also reflect and see how that individual is going from a internal team culture perspective, but also how are they presenting us online and how are they presenting the business, then it's not just the metrics. There's so many other things that we need to take account of, and that was just, I guess, one example. But yeah, also in terms of evaluating them, just need to make sure that, hey, are we tracking correctly? Are we moving towards the goals that we set? And if we are, great. And if we're not, then yeah, there may be needs to not move on, but just needs to look into further to see, okay, how can we further help this individual? Are there any areas or any gaps that they have that we can further apply? Advanced training. Is there anything maybe internally that needs to be addressed? But yeah, it all comes down to clear expectations, realistic goals, and being able to work alongside them. All right. And then also navigating the transformation. I think one of the important things here is looking at, okay, where are they now? And what are we looking at achieving? But how are they moving? How are they integrating themselves into the team? How are we tracking in terms of our goals and our KPIs? And just being able to have an open communication with them, open dialogue. Just, are we moving towards this goal here? If not, what are the reasons? How can we improve? But yet, if we are moving to these goals here, do you think that this goal here is ambitious enough, or should we be looking further? Asking the right questions can really get the most out of them, and being able to empower them is through letting them do what they need to do. Setting those frameworks, but also making sure that they have enough room and freedom to really apply their stamp onto it. That's what we've found work internally here, and we've seen that time and time again with our clients as well. Now, when you look at the returns for yourself, and also the sales individual, it all aligns. If you increase the revenue of the business, that means that there's more options for you, more options for the team, and if you bring on the right people, it also becomes a lot more fulfilling. I spoke about this a little bit earlier in the video. But it sort of moves away from the financial goals and moves more into the development goals. How are we building? How are we making an impact out there? Now, again, these are all buzzwords out there, but once you truly get yourself to a position where you can really do that. Now, again, speaking from personal experience, we're not there yet. We have so much ambition within RH Media; it's insane. But the journey along the way, we can see the improvement of individuals. We can see how that then ripples into their own personal lives, into their own families, what they're able to do for their people. That's pretty satisfying. So not only does your team win, but you win as well. And then once we look at the success of the business, and this actually, funnily enough, ties it into the very first point, which was if you really want to be able to have the option to have it as a cash cow, where it's continuously bringing cash flow in, which allows you to further invest in other ventures that you have, other passions, or if it's something that you'd want to be able to sell down the track as a business owner, you'd have the best possible evaluation, you'd have the best possible return, simply because the marketing, the most important aspect of the business, the sales, the advertising, as I said, the marketing is all in-house. It's not reliant on a third party. It's not reliant on an agency that if they were to drop, or if they were to be moved on, that you'd have a big hole in the business. No, they're in-house. They're bought into the business. They're bought into the company culture, and they're on the ride with you. So to finalize this video here and to close it off, the head of sales transforms everything within the business. It brings all other 8 pillars together. It allows you as the business owner to step back, allow them to do what they do best, which then gives you the ability to further add more value when it comes to the customer experience, allows you to maybe even step back and spend time with your family and friends or whatever you want to do, or it gives you the option to do other ventures out there. But if you empower and you bring on board the right individuals and the right team and keep this in-house, there is so much benefits to come from it that you'd be able to really dictate maybe the next 5-10 years of your life. So again, I want to thank you for coming through this video series. I'd like to thank you for spending the time with me to further understand how these 9 pillars really amplify and allow the business to take complete market share and to build that moat around the business. But I think one of the things that we need to identify here is, hey, this isn't going to be the same framework within 18 to 24 months, 36 months. The online space evolves and moves very quick. So if you can take action and push this through within the business, not only would you be able to be fruitful in a position where, maybe within 18 to 24 months, you'd be able to apply the next iteration of what works. So again, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for coming through these 9 pillars with me. And if you do have any questions, please reach out, whether you're watching this on YouTube or watching this embedded anywhere. I hope this actually helps out. So thank you so much, and I'll speak to you guys soon.